and welcome to BQ Prime. A very good afternoon to all the viewers. I'm Hiral Dadia. Clearly, if you see the markets continue to see that flattish move in trade, in fact, we are still below that 19,700 mark, and it has been slightly volatile, but the range has been absolutely narrow from a low of 19,615 to a high of 19,729. So almost 100 points move is what we've seen. In terms of Bank Nifty as well, clearly it's underperforming the benchmark in the season trade, and we are seeing cuts of almost 100 points coming in on Bank Nifty, and we are hovering around the 45,000, I beg your pardon, 45,800 levels. Let's understand the advanced decline ratio, pretty much 50-50 in terms of Nifty. But from here on, what are the levels we should be watching out for? Aamar Deo Singh joins in to give us more. Amar, good afternoon and welcome to the show.
Yeah, thank you for having me.
Amar, always a pleasure to speak to you. My first question coming to you is overall, if you see uh, clearly, Nifty has been in focus. What is the rollover data indicating? Because everyone was eyeing 20,000. Now we're far away from that 20,000 mark already once again. What's the data indicating to you?
I would say that what we are seeing is that some sort of profit booking definitely is happening in the markets because the 20,000 is also a psychological level, and also we have the US Fed meeting, so that very crucial meeting is being held. So the outcome is more or less is expected that there could be a 25 basis points hike. So that the markets seem to have factored in, but it's going to be the statement which is going to have an important role as to whether this is going to be the last hike for this year or is there something else in store. So the markets are, I would say, playing a little of pause, which is, I would say, a healthy sign also because you need to have some corrections also because the way Nifty rallied, we witnessed almost 1,000-point rally in such a short span of time. So I think that's a good thing. Now what we see is that as far as crucial support zone is concerned, so Nifty's got some very strong support zone coming around the 19,000, 450, 500, 550 zone. So currently it's almost 150 points higher, almost from that level. And the trend is still in favor of the bulls. So yeah, we are seeing some profit booking, some sort of I would say unwinding of long positions also happening. So that's a good sign, I would say. Till the time we don't see Nifty breach the 19,450, 500 in the short term, then if that happens, then we could say that maybe a short-term possibility of a short-term bottom, short-term top has been formed. So still, I would say it's in favor of the bulls, but there's some sort of caution among the investors and traders ahead of the US Federal Reserve meeting. So that's one of the. So people are also booking in their profits at these levels.
Right. Moving on, if you see in terms of Bank Nifty as well, what's the rollover data indicating? Because yesterday's session, the Bank Nifty rolls were observed at 40% versus a 3-month average of around 32%. Now, with that as well, clearly everyone has been eyeing higher levels, but where do you see it moving from here on? Because the next level in terms of target that we've been hearing is 48,000, but where do you see support and where are you putting the resistance? Uh, Amar, I think you've gone on mute. Request you to kindly unmute yourself because we're not able to hear you. Unable to hear you, Amar.
Audible?
Yes, you're audible now.
Yeah. So what we see in Bank Nifty is that uh, what we see in Bank Nifty is that Bank Nifty. Hello.
Yes, Amar, please go on. We can hear you now.
Yeah. So what we see in Bank Nifty, as you said, that the rollover data is definitely on the positive side, and there is the overall trend remains strong and positive. So what it effectively means is that again we are seeing some sort of profit booking happening, but on the daily charts we are seeing one candle pattern which indicates some sort of top being formed. So the recent high of Bank Nifty, that's going to be something very important. So somewhere around 46,400 odd levels. So that's going to act as a crucial zone of resistance. Whereas on the downside, 45,400 immediately currently it's around those levels only slightly. So that's going to act as a zone of support. So you can say 45,200, 45,400. That's going to act as a zone of support. But still, it's in favor of the bulls. So, but one needs to definitely be cautious at these levels.
Right. So that's with regards to where, Bank Nifty goes as well. Moving on, clearly, if you see, it's the choppy markets which are actually keeping the bulls at bay. And the movement on the upside on Bank Nifty is going to be absolutely crucial to once again see a rally in terms of Nifty 50. In fact, a lot of analysts are of the opinion that the market is actually undergoing through a consolidation phase. However, the underlying bullishness still continues to remain intact. Now, overall, when the rally resumes is something we need to wait and watch. And the next two sessions are going to be interesting to watch out for because it is expiry. So there could be some amount of volatility that could start creeping in from tomorrow's session. Amar, let me come to you with individual stocks as well as we speak now that we've already spoken about Nifty as well as Bank Nifty. Overall, if you see TVS Motors, now we are seeing a good long build up coming in on this counter after a strong set of first quarter numbers. What is your view and what should the strategy be on this counter?
So what I would say is TVS Motors definitely it's in for consolidation because if you look at the charts of TVS Motors, this stock has not gone anywhere since the beginning of June, I would say. Prior to that, it had a very good rally and then it was consolidating and it was unable to breach the, I would say, 1400 mark. So that's a level of resistance for this particular stock. So the stock needs to sustain above that level for any meaningful rally. And if I look at the long-term charts for the stock, so the stock is, there's no doubt the stock is in a secular bull trend. So any pullback in this stock should be used as a buying opportunity. But for any further meaningful rally, the stock needs to sustain above the 1400 mark. So that's a level to watch out for the particular stock. Yeah.
Right. Moving on in terms of other names, a bullish setup seen in terms of metal names like Hindustan Copper as well as Tata Steel. What's your view?
Yeah, so I would say as far as Hindustan Copper is concerned, Hindustan Copper is also on the verge of a breakout. So what we are seeing is that the stock has been consolidating. It's not been able to take out the 125 zone. So that's a very crucial zone of resistance. And earlier that also was a very strong support. So that's a support zone. So now it's acting as a resistance. Sustaining above that level, then the stock definitely has a potential to rally towards its. If we look back, then it has a potential to rally towards 132, 135 zone in the short term. So the stock remains positive. And talking about the other stock which you mentioned, Tata Steel. So if you look at Tata Steel is very, I would say, choppy right now on the charts, but the overall trend remains positive. We've got its results also have come out, wherein I would say the profits have significantly been curtailed compared to the same quarter last year. So clearly, it shows that Tata Steel is also it's still positive on the charts, but it needs to sustain above the 125 zone because if we go back in time, so we see that somewhere in January it had made a high of around 120 odd levels. So 120, 125 is going to act as a strong zone of resistance for the stock. Currently, it's around 118 odd levels. So that's the level to watch out for. If it sustains above 120, 125, then it has a potential to rally towards 135 odd levels. Technically, I would say the stock is positive on the long term, on the medium term trend. On the monthly charts, it clearly shows that the stock will meet with resistance the moment it trades between 120, 125. So a lot of profit booking or some selling pressure would come around that zone.
Right. Moving on, how are you looking at ITC? Because, there is some bit of bearish onslaught coming in on that counter since yesterday. What would your view be with regards to ITC?
See, if you look at ITC has been one of the stocks which has really rallied significantly, being such a heavyweight, and it's been a major rally which we witnessed. You can say more than doubling in terms of the stock prices. So a pause is definitely, I would say, is good for the stock. The stock has corrected recently since the demerger news that came in. So currently it's around a very important support zone. So On the long term charts, I would say somewhere around the current levels. So 444.50 is a very strong support zone, and the stock has, if you look at the stock has corrected from almost 500 odd levels. So that's a decent correction which the stock has witnessed over the past few trading sessions. So I would say again that can be around 440, 450. That can be a very good buying opportunity for the stock if the stock sustains around those levels.
Right. Moving away from from ITC, another stock that I want to talk about is the Reliance Industries, because even this is one of the heavy weights which is seeing some bit of profit booking over the last couple of trading sessions. What should the strategy be? Does it tell you that from here on these could be good levels to re-enter the stock?
Ideally, if you ask me, Reliance is not looking very good on the long-term charts.
Hmm.
So, so clearly, what it effectively means is that the recent high that Reliance has made, Reliance would really find it difficult to breach that high. So the high that it had made on 20th July to 2630, so that's going to act as a very strong. Now you can say that that's definitely a short-term top for Reliance. However, on the downside, somewhere around 2400 odd levels is a zone of support for the stock, because technically that's a 30-day exponential moving average where the stock has been taking support since taking off from the first week of April. So the stock did correct to support around this moving average, and from there it has bounced back. But this time, what we've seen that the fall has been significant and quite sharp in terms of Reliance. So it means that the top has been made, short-term top definitely has been made for Reliance. On the downside, we'll have to watch out if the stock takes support around the 2400 odd levels. Then we could see a pullback. But the long-term charts, I'm talking the monthly charts, they don't really inspire that much confidence that it's going to break that recent top in a hurry.
Right. Moving on, apart from this, IT names have been focused, and again, a similar trend where you're seeing profit booking coming in on these names as well. What's your view?
So looking at the IT names, I would say, see what has happened in the IT stocks is that first there was this major correction on the back of recession fears and all that, and then there was a pullback that yeah things will become normal again, and the stocks have bounced back. If you look at the likes of TCS for that matter, the stock from almost 3000 odd levels rallied towards 3540. So that was a significant, almost more than 15% rally which the stock witnessed. Now the stock has corrected, currently around 3400 odd levels. But if you ask me from a long-term perspective, if I look at the stock, IT stock still more or less it's consolidation. So higher levels would be sold into. So it's more of a range play for the stocks. Any pullback or correction will be the buying opportunity, but higher levels would be sold into a profit book. So for that matter, if I look at TCS, so 3200, 3300, that's a very strong support zone. On the upside, selling pressure is very high around 3500, 3550 zone. Looking at the other stock, if I talk about Infosys, so there also, if we look at Infosys, so there also we see a lot of similar trend, but Infosys is looking comparatively weaker on the charts as compared to TCS. So, but Infosys, if I look at the range, it has got very strong support coming around the 1150, 1200 zone. So that's a very good zone to accumulate Infosys if the stock corrects. Currently, it's around 1335. Upside seems to be capped around the 1450 level. So it's more of a range play for most of these IT stocks.
Right. Amar, apart from these names that we've discussed, any other trading picks that you could advise viewers with?
Yeah, so if we look at some of the stocks, so in the pharma space, we see very good traction in Sun Pharma. So this is one stock. If I look at it, it's very positive on the long-term charts, and it's uh, close to a breakout which we are witnessing. And so this is one stock one can definitely look out on the long-term charts as well as the daily charts. The stock has been inching higher, and what I see is that currently the stock is close to its zone of resistance. So somewhere around the 1100 mark or so. So sustaining above that level, the stock has a potential to rally towards the 1150, 1200 zone. So this is one stock one can definitely look at.
Right. Thank you, Amar, so much for joining us on the show and sharing those views. So, those are few of the names that one should be watching out for. But clearly, if you see in terms of where markets are concerned, a close below the 19,700 mark is what we are seeing. A pretty somber, flat day of trade. And similarly, a below 100 points cut coming in terms of Bank Nifty as well, with cuts of around 0.2%. In terms of stock specific action, Hindalco, JSW Steel, Tata Steel, three metal counters at the top with gains of over 3%. Ultratech Cement and NTPC, which has seen smart gains. Asian Paints has reacted to numbers. ITC has continued the downward pressure for a second consecutive session after the demerger has been announced. Britannia, L&T, as well as the SBI that have been under pressure in today's session. Overall, if you see in terms of the Sensex as well, in terms of broader markets, cuts of around marginal 30 points coming in there, so a flattish move on the Sensex as well. And in terms of stock specific action, Jyoti Laboratories, a 20% up move on the back of earnings. Adani Green, Adani Power, a 10% up move there. Titagar continues the upward move, and this is after HSBC has gone ahead and increased this target price once again. Adani Transmission also seeing some smart gains. Chennai Petro on the back of earnings saw some downtick of around 9%. Sharda Cropchem was under pressure, and this is again on the back of news coming in from Bayer. MRPL was another one which saw cuts of around 6% coming in there. So overall, a lot of stock specific action is what we've seen. A lot of reaction to earnings is what we've noticed in today's session. But clearly, the markets have seen a pretty flat move. And where from here on till expiry is what we need to wait and watch. That's all that we have on this session. Thanks for watching, and lots you'll get to watch on BQ Prime throughout the day. Please stay tuned.